Zenless Zone Zero is the newest action RPG gacha game from Hoyoverse, who you may know from games like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Those games never interested me, but there's just something about this game that caught my attention. No idea what it could be. Nope, couldn't tell ya. Absolutely no clue. Okay, guilty as charged. This snazzy butler has really taken the internet by storm. I can't even open Twitter anymore without seeing at least 5 pieces of fan art of him specifically. Even non-furries are thirsting for him, which is hilarious. But while Hoyoverse finally making some characters that aren't just skinny humans, like the entire Genshin Impact roster, may have been what caused my initial interest, this game actually isn't too bad. You know, gacha mechanics aside, but we'll get to that. I'm Areku, your local Demon Fox VTuber, and here's my review of Zenless Zone Zero. At time of writing, I've put about 30 hours into this game. I wasn't able to get in any of the pre-release openings despite applying, so everything I've seen is post-launch, but I'm pretty sure I've gotten a good grasp of how this game goes. When you begin Zenless Zone Zero, you take control of either Wise or Bell, 2 siblings who run a niche video store by day and run a proxy business at night. Being a proxy is kind of like being a professional hacker. They use their skills to pilot a little bunny robot that guides mercenaries through dangerous areas called hollows, so they don't get lost. If a person stays in a hollow for too long, they will become corrupted and turn into crazy monsters, which is apparently a bad thing, though they aren't particularly good looking and they lose their sense of self, so no chance for any monster dates, I suppose. I won't give too much away, but I do think the story is better than most games of this type. You meet everyone in the lineup eventually and learn about them, and can even use characters you haven't summoned in the gacha system in the related story missions. Some parts feel a bit boring due to the large amount of back and forth dialogue. It almost feels like a visual novel at times, there is so much talking. But there are summaries provided if a certain scene just isn't grabbing you, so you can keep up with what's happening even if you skip stuff here and there. I know, I swear it gets good after so and so hours is a bit of a meme, but it applies to this game pretty hard, I think. Some may disagree, but the story is absolutely better than I personally expected after the admittedly boring first act. And the writing ranges from hilarious to surprisingly emotional. The Belobog arc even made me tear up a little. So that's all you're getting out of me on that. As for how the game actually plays, it has a lot of focus on action. You typically control one character at a time, but in a team of 3, with a sort of Marvel vs. Capcom feel. Your characters have an attack button, a special attack, a dodge, and a character switch that also functions as a parry if you time it right. There's also a super attack you can do if you build up enough meter. There's also many different types of little robots called Bangboos that do several types of supportive things for your team. Gotcha pull for these as well. But I know what you're thinking. Only 2 attack buttons? It's that simple? And to that I'd say, kind of? The depth of the game comes from reacting to the enemy, and the character-specific mechanics and special inputs used to optimize your damage. The character switching parry is usually best, but it's limited to a resource, though I never really ran out of this resource, but it might be an issue in harder content. Not every attack can be parried though, and sometimes you'll have to quickly dodge to trigger a witch time-like effect.
Nice try!
There are also things like Lycaon's ability to charge his attacks, and secret inputs on some characters like Nicole to discover and use to make combos, along with dash attacks. Now you can button mash and make it through most of the content, I won't lie, but I think the game does reward optimizing your play and learning the game quite well, and stuff does get surprisingly hard later on in the story or in the optional content if you want to pursue that. The game also feels harder to control in the mobile version. At least for me, I prefer a controller on the console or PC version when I'm doing anything intensive. Between the combat sections are quite a few other activities too. When exploring the Hollow, you'll be put in a virtual side-scrolling world depicted by a lot of TVs, where you're faced with exploration, item collecting, and even some puzzles. They aren't usually difficult, but every now and then I'd find a bit of a head-scratcher. These sections feel very slow sometimes though. Even speeding up the animations barely helps how much of a slog it feels like sometimes. But I don't think they're bad as long as you have the patience for them. There's also a lot of smaller areas to run around as your chosen protag between missions. You can go shopping, grind out resources for your characters, play minigames, or grab some grub for buffs. Man, ever since Monster Hunter World, it feels like games have just had a fascination with trying to make you hungry. I'm living off eggs, ramen, and sweet tea. I don't need you tempting me to reinstall DoorDash, game. Now you have a better idea of what Zenless Zone Zero is, let's dig into what I actually like about the game. I think this game's biggest strength is its characters and its aesthetic, including its animation. It's got a smaller cast than you expect from gachas, at least now, shortly after release, but there's really not a bad character among them. They all feel distinct with their own personality traits and quirks, and none of them are really too gimmicky, I feel. Their designs are also mostly all stellar. Every character gets some time to shine in the story too. Zenless Zone Zero is made by a different team from other Hoyoverse games, and it shows because the characters actually all stand out instead of having the dreaded same face syndrome. I also really love Ben.
A real beast, huh? This is Belobog's leader? Hello.
Oh, hello there, Mr. Proxy. Sorry I had to see something like this so soon after getting here.
Just look at him, he's so cute. Anyway, everything about this game is really nice to look at as well, from the models to the bouncy animation, and the music is exceptional. I've not heard a bad track. I've actually had the S-Rank summon theme stuck in my head for weeks now.
So enjoy the ride.
There are things you can't control. Focus Lycaon, that's is wrong. Embrace the without, stop, keep it going. That's the essence, life should go. Not just trials, battle stuff. Go take enjoy simple stuff. Even when it's getting rough, take it easy, having fun is just enough.
That song is so good. There's also so much to do in this game, more than I can reasonably cover in this video, with a constant stream of side quests, farming content for equipment and upgrades, and interactions. Some more interesting than others, but you know, it's definitely a game that can keep you busy for a long time if you enjoy it. I also find it great that it has cross-platform progression. You can play on console or PC, then seamlessly move over to the mobile phone version and keep doing what you were doing on the same account. Very cool. Unfortunately, not all is well in the Hollows. Gacha mechanics are definitely a bane of gaming for many, and I sadly can't say it's much better here. There are pity systems to ensure you'll get the character you want eventually, and it feels good when you get lucky, but it's understandable if this turns you off the game entirely. Aside from that, this game has a lot of menus, and a lot of notifications in those menus. It might be a little overwhelming for people not used to it. So many notifications. I don't know what it is with mobile games and putting 1,000 notifications in a bunch of different places. Why can't we just have one big list and a claim all button? Oh well. However, probably my least favorite thing in this game is the level gating. If you complete a story arc, you'll not be able to continue to the next one until you meet a certain player level requirement. Coming to these has definitely put me off wanting to play past dailies until I can move on. At least the dailies help towards it and don't take very long each day. And it's a good opportunity to do side quests you find around the world. But it really just feels like a way to extend your playtime if you're at all invested in the plot. I also feel like the combat, while deeper than it may appear at first glance, is just missing a little something. It's fun and stylish, make no mistake, but in each character having their unique touch is good. It just feels like it could use a little bit extra to fully stand out. I don't know what that could be, but maybe a future patch will add some mechanics. Who knows with these live service games? I also heard some people have issues with loading times, but I never really had issues with this. It might depend on the equipment you're running the game with. That's my thoughts. I think Zenless really has something nice going on here. It's not perfect, and some story segments and TV world animations could use some speeding up. But as long as you have patience for that, I really think you can have a great time with this game. It's also free, so as long as you don't get tempted by those microtransactions, you got nothing to lose. But hey, if you've given the game a shot, what do you think? If not, did this review convince you to give it a try? Let me know in the comments. And if you like what I do, be sure to subscribe or check out my other videos, or even my Twitch where I stream regularly. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Also, hey, can we get more furry characters, Hoyoverse? Please? I haven't been catered to this hard since Dislight. Please, I need more.